So this video is aimed at people who are struggling with their ego, and as most of us are to some degree, struggling with insecurities about the way you look, specifically, whether it's a particular part of your body, just your general appearance, and you're having a lot of negative thoughts and kind of getting stuck in really negative spirals about your appearance. I think that so many of us are stuck in that surface level stuff. Whether it is that we're saying to ourselves, if only I was rich and had a perfect house and the perfect husband, then I would be happy. Or we're saying to ourselves, if only I had a six-pack and the perfect bum, then I'm going to feel good about myself. It doesn't really matter what we're tying it to. If it's surface level and it's external, we are putting our worth and our happiness outside of ourselves and believing that this other thing is going to create this feeling for us. And I think one thing that is really important to look at is the role of external validation. So a lot of us validate people, especially our partners, giving them compliments, telling them, you're so good looking, you're so this, your body's perfect. And I'm not saying we shouldn't be nice and compliment our partners, but sometimes actually it can be quite damaging, because if our partner is forever complimenting us and giving us all this external validation, then we can tie our worth to how they see us rather than the truth of how we actually see ourselves. And when our worth and our identity is tied to external opinions of us, it's very fragile. So sure, I could go out and someone could say to me, oh, you're really attractive, and that might make my day if I'm relying on external validation. But also someone could say something that isn't as positive, and that could ruin my day. So it puts us in this fragile place that other people kind of have all the power, really, because it's if someone says I look good, then I feel good. If someone says I look bad, then I feel bad. We're not coming from a powerful place of self, because deep down it's not what we feel about ourselves. And I think external validation is almost like a drug to the ego. So if we see our ego as protecting us from actually going deeper, so if we removed our ego out of the way, we could go into the depths of who am I? Do I even like who I am as an actual human? Am I just content with me? Do I accept me? The deeper questions can start to come up, but our ego doesn't want us to go there. Our ego wants to keep us safe. So our ego's here keeping us protected, and the more that we feed off external validation, whether that is likes on social media, whether it is going on nights out and relying on compliments from random people to make us feel good about ourselves, whether it is from our partner complimenting us, the more that we kind of feed off that external stuff, the bigger our ego gets. And big egos don't make us happy. Most people with big ego are really miserable. We don't have high self-esteem. We don't just accept who we are. We don't have that contentness of being us. We are forever wanting more. The ego wants to win. So realistically, if we're looking at appearance, the ego's never going to win that battle. There's always going to be someone prettier. There's always going to be someone with better bum, better legs, taller, shorter, whatever the thing is. When it comes to appearance isn't a place that we're going to win at. Where we can win is I can be the best at being me. I can choose every day to show up as the most authentic, vulnerable version of myself. And there isn't really any other competition there because I'm unique, like we all are. So in that race, we are winners. But when we're stuck on the surface level of appearance and things and money, like, then we aren't going to win. If we know that we're stuck in a place where we believe our appearance is the most important part of us, where we truly believe that, you know, I attract partners because of the way I look, not who I am. Like, people are with me because of my appearance, not the person that I am. Then there's some work to be done. Like, there's some ego to break. And I think generally trying to almost pull away from anything that is actually giving us that validation, whether it is social media or even like speaking to your partner and saying, like, can you like pull back a little bit with validating me so I can actually sit with myself a little bit here. Because if our partner loves a bit about us that we hate, because they love it, we might not look at it. But if we break up with that person, we've still got the problem. Like, we haven't actually solved it. I went almost a year once without wearing makeup, and that was a really powerful journey for me because at the time I had really bad acne as well. And it took me some work. Like, I'd look in the mirror every morning and I wouldn't like what I saw looking back at me. But it kind of got to a point where I was like, I'm just gonna accept it. I'm just gonna accept it and just not think about this all the time because it's exhausting. And I think that self-love doesn't necessarily look like you look in the mirror and you think that you're so sexy and so attractive. It does look like you look in the mirror less and you care less and you don't really think about it as much, and you do start to have the deeper thoughts of, why does that matter anyway? Like, do I really want to be with someone who is only with me because of my surface level appearance? Like, is that actually going to make me happy? Like, what do I even want from my life? Like, is that going to give me what I'm really after? I think a lot of the time it's kind of a way of avoiding ourselves, to consume our mind with the surface level of our appearance, rather than saying, actually, like, maybe I really need to work on me. Maybe I need to work on the aspects of my personality that I'm hiding, or the bits of me that I'm a bit ashamed of, or how I perform around people or people please, rather than, my boyfriend's broke up with me, what am I going to do? I'm going to go to the gym, you know, like that, like, if that's your go-to, then I think it's really important to ask yourself, like, what is actually beneath this, and realising that changing our appearance isn't going to solve the way that we feel about ourselves. I've worked with loads of people. I've had a boob job. Like, I've been there. I've done it. It changed nothing. I've worked with so many people who believe, you know, if I just lost a bit of weight, if I just whitened my teeth, if I just changed this, had some Botox, looked a bit younger, none of them have ever come back after doing that thing feeling any better. They just move on to the next thing. It's forever unfulfilling. Like, the ego will never be satisfied. So as long as we're stuck in that place, then we're going to run forever. We're going to run forever trying to find the thing that we need to find, when really it is just ourselves. And I don't know when we will learn. I don't know if we ever will. I think people can spend their entire life basing their worth on all the things around them, the way that they look, the house that they live in, the car that they drive, and die unhappy, because really we just needed to sit with ourselves. We just needed to take a long, hard look at who we are and see if we can actually accept that. And once you find that, that's real self-esteem. Like, that's not false confidence. That's actually me saying, I'm okay. Like, I'm okay. I like me. I'm good enough. If you would like to do some work around this, I'm going to do another video that will be below that is an actual self-work practice to focus on this specific area of work, and I hope you enjoyed that video.